The moment you look someone in the eye and say the words, "You're lying," you lose. Not because you're wrong, because they've rehearsed your anger 100 times. Every liar walks in carrying a script for your outrage, the raised voice, the demands, the proof. The one thing they never prepared for, you smiling and believing every word. By the end of this video, you'll have a 3-step protocol that makes a liar quietly dismantle their own story. No confrontation, no shouting, no scene. I call it the Quiet Audit. You stop playing prosecutor and you become the auditor. Calm, patient, keeping records. You'll also meet the 4 types of liars you're actually dealing with, and you learn the one situation where you should never run this protocol at all. Welcome to Unspoken. From the outside, you look like the easygoing one, the person who gives everyone the benefit of the doubt. Friends call you loyal, co-workers call you reasonable. You're the one who says, "I'm sure they didn't mean it that way." But underneath, there's a quieter fear you don't say out loud. The fear that your trust makes you a target. That somewhere, right now, someone is smiling at you across the table and lying, and you're nodding along. And here's the part that actually stings when you do catch a lie. Your first instinct isn't anger at them, it's shame at yourself. How did I not see it? Why did I believe that? You replay every conversation, hunting for the crack you missed. Listen to that again. When someone lies to you, you punish yourself. That's the wound this video is going to close. Because the problem was never your trust. The problem is that nobody ever taught you what to do with a lie once you're holding one. So let's start with something you can use tonight. It's called the second telling and it takes 1 sentence. When a story smells wrong, don't challenge it. Just say, "Wait, sorry, I zoned out for a second. Tell me that again from the top." That's it. Now watch what happens. A person telling the truth retells it messy. They start somewhere different, they skip a part, they suddenly remember a detail they left out because they're pulling from an actual memory, and memory is disorganized. A person telling a lie recites it. Same order, same phrases, almost word for word. Because they're not remembering an event, they're performing a script, and scripts only run in one direction. 1 sentence, and the difference is night and day. But hold on, that's the pocket version. It tells you a lie is probably in the room. The full Quiet Audit does something much bigger. It makes the liar hand you the evidence himself. Before I give you the whole protocol though, you need to see the exact moment it was designed for. Picture this, 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. The kitchen smells like reheated dinner because you waited. The door opens and the apology starts traffic. Then the meeting ran long. Then, and my phone died. That's why I couldn't text. You didn't ask about the phone. That's the detail that snags. And they keep going. The name of the coworker who dragged the meeting out. What the client was upset about. The exact route home. You're being handed a story with footnotes, and all you asked was how their day went. Every cell in your body wants to say it. That's funny. Your phone showed online at 8. You can feel the sentence sitting in your throat like a hot coal. Say it, and here's how tonight goes. They explode, or they cry, or they flip it. Are you seriously tracking when I'm online? Do you hear how paranoid you sound? And 2 hours later, somehow, you're the one apologizing, lying awake on your edge of the bed, wondering how the night turned inside out. So you don't say it, you pick up your fork. You smile and you say, "That sounds exhausting. So the meeting ran late? Then what happened?" And without them knowing it, the audit has already begun. Here's why that quiet move beats every confrontation you could ever stage, and it starts with a number that should change how you see the people around you. Psychologist Bella DePaulo at the University of Virginia ran what became known as the diary studies. Ordinary people logging every social interaction and every lie inside it. The result? People told lies in roughly 1 out of every 5 interactions, not monsters. Students, professionals, kind people, lying isn't rare, it's ambient, it's weather. And most of it you never catch. Now, the part nobody tells you about your gut. Communication researcher Tim Levine spent decades testing how well humans actually detect deception. And the answer is barely better than a coin flip. Around 54% accuracy, and that includes trained interrogators. Levine calls his explanation truth default theory. Your brain is wired to assume people are telling the truth. Because nothing human survives without that assumption. You are built to believe. Which means when you just know someone is lying and confront them on gut feeling alone, you're gambling at coin flip odds with the whole relationship on the table. But there's a third finding, and this one becomes your weapon. Deception researcher Aldert Vrij showed that lying is expensive, cognitively expensive. A liar is running 3 programs at once, inventing the story, tracking what they've already said, and scanning your face for suspicion. That scanning is the key. While they're watching you for doubt, their guard is up and the performance stays tight. But show them believe not, lean in, lukewarm, and the scanning program shuts off. Their mental load drops. They relax. And a relaxed liar gets sloppy. They over-explain. They add flourishes. They stretch the timeline. They build a story so elaborate it can't survive contact with reality. You've felt this. Confrontation makes liars careful. Comfort makes them careless. The entire Quiet Audit stands on that one asymmetry. Now, before you run an audit, you need to know who's sitting across from you. Because liars come in 4 types, and each one falls into this trap differently. See if you recognize anyone. Maybe even the mirror. Type 1. The Decorator. The Decorator doesn't lie to hurt you, he lies to upgrade himself. The fish gets bigger, the salary gets rounder. The story about standing up to his boss becomes a speech he never gave. You'll spot him because his lies all point the same direction, toward making him look braver, richer, more wanted. Ask him about the marathon and it took 4 hours. By Christmas, it's 3.5. Nobody fact-checks him, because nobody cares enough to, and that's the loneliness sitting underneath the whole act. Individually, each lie is harmless. But live with a decorator long enough and you realize you don't actually know him. You know the exhibit, the curated version. And here's the strange part. The decorator half believes his own decorations. Challenge 1, and he's wounded. Sincerely wounded, because you didn't attack a lie. You attacked his self-portrait. With a decorator, the audit runs gentle. You're not gathering evidence for a verdict. You're quietly measuring the gap between the exhibit and the man, and deciding how much of the exhibit you can live with. Type 2. The Ghost. The Ghost never tells you a false thing. Ask him directly, and every word he says will check out. His weapon is the delete key. The drink after work happened, he just never mentioned who was there. The account exists, he just never brought up the balance. Confront a ghost and he has the cleanest hands in the world. I never lied to you. Technically true. And technically true is the ghost's native language. He's the hardest type to catch, because there's no false statement to disprove. There's just negative space, the outline of everything he didn't say. So with a ghost, the audit changes shape. You stop listening for what's wrong, and you start listening for what's missing. His stories have holes where people should be, gaps where ours should be. A Saturday that starts at breakfast and jumps somehow straight to midnight. A work trip with no names in it. You don't ask, is that true? You ask warmly, oh, who else was there? And then you watch how much work it takes him to answer a simple question. Type 3. The fire starter. This is the dangerous one. The fire starter lies like everyone else until he senses you closing in. Then, instead of defending the lie, he sets fire to the room. Suddenly, the conversation isn't about where he was Thursday night. It's about your jealousy, your trust issues. That thing you did 3 years ago. He doesn't answer questions. He makes questions cost so much that you stop asking them. If you've ever ended an argument apologizing for a lie somebody else told, you've met a fire starter. It's a magic trick, and the sleight of hand is your own temper. And understand this, with a fire starter, direct accusation isn't just useless, it's fuel. He needs your anger. Your raised voice is his evidence that you're the unstable one. This is the type the Quiet Audit was practically designed for, because it hands him nothing. No accusation to reverse, no outburst to point at. Just a calm face, a locked-in story, and a fact he can't burn down. And type 4. The Architect. The rarest, and the one to take seriously. The decorator improvises, the architect prepares. His lies have structure, an alibi arranged in advance, a friend briefed to back the story, a receipt kept just in case. When you hear a lie that answers questions you haven't asked yet, you're listening to an architect. He's rehearsed the second telling. He stays steady under warmth and steady under pressure, because for him deception isn't a panic response, it's a project. And here's what matters. An architect in your life is not a communication problem, it's a character revelation. The audit still works on him. Even an architect can't hold a fiction against physical reality forever, but the goal changes. With the other three, you're often auditing to repair. With an architect, you're auditing to decide. Not how do I win this conversation, but what am I still doing in this building? 4 types, 1 protocol. But before I hand you the full version, you need one reframe, because without it, you'll use this tool wrong. Being lied to successfully doesn't prove you're naive. It proves you're normal. Your brain defaults to trust, because trust is what makes friendship, marriage, teamwork, everything worth having possible at all. The people who never get fooled, they exist. They're the ones who trust no one, verify everything, sleep badly, and end up alone with their vigilance. They didn't beat the game, they just stopped playing it. So the goal was never to become a human lie detector. The research says you can't, and neither can I. The goal is to become something better. A person whose reaction can't be used against them. Think about what a liar actually needs from you, not your belief, your reaction. Your explosion is his exit, your tears are his leverage, your accusation is his stage. The moment you go loud, the lie stops being the story, you become the story. The quiet audit takes all of that away, and that's why it changes you, not just them. Somewhere in this process, you stop being the person things happen to, and you become the person who watches, notes, and decides. A lie only has power in 2 moments, the moment it's believed and the moment it's thought. The audit is the third door. Walk through it and the lie just sits there. Owned entirely by the person who told it. Now, the full protocol, the version I made you wait for. Step 1. Open the ledger. When the lie lands, you become the warmest audience in the world. Relaxed shoulders, real eye contact, one open question. Oh wow, so what happened then? Or, that sounds intense, walk me through it. Remember what Vrij found. Comfort makes liars careless. Every question you ask while smiling produces details. And every detail is a plank in a structure that was never built to hold weight. You're not agreeing with the lie. You're funding it. Step 2. Seal the entry. Before the conversation moves on, you summarize innocently, like you're just making sure you followed. Okay, so you were at the office till 9, your phone was dead the whole time, and you drove straight home, right? Warm voice, zero suspicion. And then you wait for the yes. That yes is everything. It converts a loose story into a signed statement. No, you misunderstood me later. No, I never said that. The entry is sealed, with their own signature on it. Step 3. Present the invoice. Not tonight. Days later, maybe weeks, whenever reality does what reality always does, and surfaces. When it does, you don't build a courtroom. You place one fact, gently, inside a normal conversation. Oh, Sarah mentioned she ran into you at Riverside on Thursday. Anyway, want to order in tonight? Even tone. Change the subject. Move on. No accusation to reverse. No anger to point at. Just their sealed statement sitting next to reality in a silence that does all the work. And that silence, the one where they realize you've known, calmly, the entire time rearranges the power in a relationship more than any shouting match ever could. Then comes the real decision, the one the audit was actually for. Evidence or exit? Ask yourself 3 questions. Is this the first time, or is this the pattern? What was the lie protecting their comfort or their secret? And what would the truth have caused them to say to your face? Small answers, you repair. Big answers, you plan. But one warning, and I mean it. The quiet audit exists to protect you from manipulation. It is not for your anxious partner who lied about the price of a pair of shoes. Not for your kid. Not for the friend who said he was fine when he wasn't. Run audits on people you love over small things. And you're not being wise, you're running surveillance on your own home. Save the protocol for the moments that matter. That restraint is the line between the psychology of self-defense and the habits of a warden. So come back to that kitchen. 9 o'clock, Tuesday night, but 6 months from now. The door opens, the story starts, and there it is. The detail nobody asked for. Same scene. Different you. Your pulse doesn't spike this time. Your jaw doesn't tighten. There's no hot coal in your throat, because you're not holding back an explosion. There's simply no explosion in you. You pick up your fork. That sounds exhausting. Then, what happened? That calm isn't coldness. It's the end of something that quietly ran your life for years. Outsourcing your peace to other people's honesty. You can't control whether people lie to you. DePaulo's numbers say somebody will, this week. What you control is whether a lie can reach into your chest and pull your strings. And one day, maybe while teaching your own kid what to do when a friend lies to them, you'll realize this skill was never about catching people. It was about becoming the one person in the room the truth doesn't scare and lies can't shake. So tell me in the comments, which one have you been dealing with? The decorator, the ghost, the fire starter, or the architect? I read those answers and they decide what I make next. If this gave you something you can actually use, the like button helps this reach the next person who's sitting at that kitchen table right now. And if you want to keep training the quiet side of social skills, subscribe. This is Unspoken. Stay calm. Keep your own ledger.